We want you to come along with us on our latest travel adventure. We wanted to visit Namibia, specifically to seek out the rhinos and to experience the ever-changing landscapes. We concluded that a trip like this needed to be underpinned with a self-drive journey while staying at some of the best lodges in Namibia. We mapped out a clockwise approach, starting in Windhoek, onto Sossusvlei, to Swakopmund, then north to Damaraland to see the desert elephants and Twyfelfontein, after which we drove to the private Ongava Game Reserve, followed by a lazy drive through the Etosha National Park to the fort at Ongama Game Reserve. From there, we moved to our last camp, Okonjima Nature Reserve. Then the drive back to Windhoek. End to end, we spent 17 days driving 2,370 kilometers with many of the miles on gravel roads.
The speed limits on tar is 120.
Our adventure was booked through Audley Travel, whose ground agent in Namibia is ATI Holidays. Both companies are top shelf. We started our adventure in Windhoek at the AM Weinberg Hotel. This is where we did a meet and greet with Sandra from ATI. She took us through the information package, including the detailed itinerary, accommodation vouchers, and the use of a local phone that had each camp's phone number stored in speed dial, as well as emergency contacts. But most important to me was the map review showing us the driving directions and fuel stations along our route. She shared driving tips such as get fuel every time you pass a filling station, speed limits on gravel versus pavement, personal safety tips, and suggested we take the trip day by day as it can be overwhelming at first glance.
Then Jesse from Europcar took us through the ins and outs of the 4x4 rental he delivered to the hotel. It was a Toyota double cab diesel Hilux, a perfect car given such a large portion of the trip was being done on gravel roads. Jesse had us watch the safety video, showed us the two spares, and lowered the tire pressure to 1.8 bars, explaining this was optimal to reduce what he called the African massage, which is the free massage you get when driving on bumpy gravel roads. Once we finished with the key turnover, we were off to get supplies. Today we leave the capital of Windhoek and we are on our way to Sossusvlei.
Sossusvlei, yeah.
About 4.5 hours?
About 4 hours, but this will take us to the beautiful, iconic sand dunes of Namibia, which are in the oldest desert of the world, the Namib Desert, over 2 million years old. So today we start our adventure. Come along. And we're leaving Windhoek on our way to Sossusvlei. Sossusvlei. Yeah. Driving on the right side, but the wrong side for us, in a stick shift, which I don't know how to drive, so we know who will be driving this whole trip. Wes's biggest challenge on this trip was driving on the left side of the road, hence hugging the left side so closely. This is as far as I feel comfortable going.
Smooth road. Really smooth. They must have just graded it.
I feel like these are changing again. I guess this would be considered a Namibia rest stop. Golly, that's spectacular.
We've learned our lesson. Look how dirty that thing is. The other one is even worse.
Today we had a wonderful day in Sasuspray, which is where the beautiful red dunes of Namibia, the famous red dunes, are located with the petrified trees in the bottom of the canyon. We got to see the beauty of the dunes up close and personal, even hiked a little ways up one of them and kind of ran down, which was fun. Got a beautiful day. It was overcast, a little cold in the morning as we watched the sunrise over these beautiful dunes. Spectacular. We had a gorgeous lunch outside al fresco with this backdrop that was to die for. Then we went to the underground canyon that's here. That's just a small canyon, but was spectacular. So all in all, a perfect day here. Today we leave Sossusvlei and we're on our way to Swakopmund. So we're making our way toward the coast of Namibia. It should be about a 4.5-hour journey. We're looking forward to the changing scenery as we drive on our gravel road.
Notice how the clouds are almost onto the ground.
We've been in the desert now for hours. The desert really is the desert. There is nothing to your left and nothing to your right. Although we have beautiful blue skies, we are now starting to see signs of civilization. There are some wires we've seen. Vegetation is starting to grow sporadically, but we think we may be getting closer to actual people. We're in Swakopmund. This morning we did an early morning living desert tour, which we took a 4x4 out and looked at all the creatures that live under the sand and in the desert, and learned to respect where we step and where we go in the desert.
That's a snake stick, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Gosh, she is such a trooper. Today we leave Swakopmund and head towards Twyfelfontein. We leave the dunes behind and head inland towards the center of Namibia. We go to Ongava, which is right outside Etosha National Park. So we'll be there for 3 nights, and we start our hunt for the big five.
Okay, so starting off with Ongava. Ongava actually means rhino in one of the native languages, which is the Herero language, and I'm from that tribe. So what you see here at the back is actually a form of a black rhino. So on the reserve, we have both white and black rhinos, but the two are having differences, whereby the white rhinos are much, much more bigger in size than the black rhinos. Also, with the weight, they're also much more heavier than the black rhinos. So if you see them in a distance, and it's difficult to identify, just look at the back. So with the black rhinos, they will have a much more concave back, and the white rhinos will have kind of 3 humps. So there, in the middle, there will be a hump. So you will have the hump here at the neck, in the middle, and at the back side, whereby the black rhinos will just get the hump in front and at the back side. So if you look at the head, white rhinos will have a much more longer head and square in front, whereby the black rhinos will have much more shorter head and roundish in front, because the black rhinos are having that little lip. So the little lip is actually for browsing. So black rhinos are browsers, and the white rhinos, because of that square lip, they are grazers. So once they are also walking in the distance, if you see the rhino walking with the head a little bit much more up, it will be a black rhino, because it's easier for them to browse on branches. And if you see a rhino walking with the head always down on the ground, that will be a white rhino. Okay, so coming to the horns, with the black rhinos, you might see sometimes both horns might be of the same length. I've seen rhinos also with the black, where the back horn is a little bit longer than the front horn. But with the white rhinos, the front horn will always be longer than the back horn. So even with young, if you see a mother and a calf, and they start running from you, if you see the young one is running in front of the mother, then it's more likely to be a white rhino. So if the baby is running at the backside of the mother, then it's more likely to be a black rhino.
Today we leave Ongava Reserve, which was spectacular, and go through Etosha Park to Onguma The Fort. So we'll be trekking through the park and hopefully see lots of animals along the way. We wish we had more time to spend at the Ongama Fort. Unfortunately, the next morning we were off to our next destination, the Okonjima Plains Camp, to see the cheetahs and leopards. We arrived yesterday to Okonjima Camp. We've been here yesterday. I did a tour of the cheetahs. So I went to see the Africat Foundation, to where they rehab, take care, collar, and then release them back to the wild. Today we did a morning drive. Didn't get a lot. I mean, we got a lot of the animals we've seen, the kudus, the springboks, the zebras. And this afternoon we will do a leopard drive. So hopefully we'll see the leopard this afternoon. Today we leave Okonjima Plains Camp and make our way back to Windhoek. It has been a spectacular 17-day adventure through Namibia. We have seen tons of animals. The scenery has been breathtakingly beautiful, but all good things must come to an end, so farewell, Namibia.
What's the highlight of your trip?
You.
Stop it.
Oh, stop it, nothing.